Hello everyone, my name is Talya Rose, and today I want to show you how to make your own homemade baby food. I wish more moms knew how simple it was to make your own homemade baby food, because I believe that it is better for your child. When you buy store-made baby food, you don't know exactly what you're buying, and they can fill it with preservatives and starches and extra sweeteners because the companies do want your baby to eat the food so that you'll go back and buy more of it, and in order to make it taste really good, they'll put things in it that maybe necessarily aren't great for your child. I know that Gerber's been through a lot of lawsuits adding sugar that they swore was not in their foods, and you just never know. So the best way and the cheapest, and if you do it my way, the easiest way to feed your baby solids is actually doing it yourself in your kitchen. Now, what's great about making baby food is you can be a horrible cook and make great baby food, because the key to making great baby food is simplicity. You pretty much just need to peel it, cut it, boil it, and then smash it beyond all recognition before feeding it to your baby, and that's pretty much all you need. So I'm not really going to go through and make each food with you. I'm just going to go through and show you some great starter foods and how easy it is to make them for your child. So first off, we have the foods that you actually don't need to do anything to really besides just mash them yourselves. Bananas are a great starter. All you need to do is peel them and mash them and then spoon feed them to your baby. Now, I have a video on what to feed your baby when that I definitely recommend watching, because in there I do talk about babies have a natural sweet tooth, just like we do. Sweet tastes better than vegetables. So be careful on the fruits, because they will get spoiled with them. So I would recommend starting your baby on vegetables, things that maybe they wouldn't be as keen to, and maybe just letting things like bananas and other fruits be sweeteners to vegetables that maybe they don't like so much. But if you're on the go, you're in a hurry, or you're feeding your baby a vegetable that they don't like, bananas are a great filler because they don't take any prep, just a little bit of mashing and then feeding on your part. Now, avocados are also wonderful. Avocados are high in fat, but it's good kind of fat, and they have a lot of other health benefits for your baby. And again, all you need to do is cut it and mash it and feed it to your child. Now, when I am talking about like cutting and mashing, that really is the only prep that you need to do. Don't add any extra salt or pepper. There are, if you'd like to include some other spices and seasonings, you can do that, but definitely just make sure to check it, make sure it's not too spicy. But babies don't need sodium and sugar added to any of their food at this stage. I do think it's important to have a child that's not picky with food. You don't want a kid that's growing up but doesn't want to eat or try or experience new kinds of food. So you can, put a little red nutmeg or cinnamon or other kinds of spices in your food so that your baby can begin to get used to it and accustomed to new flavors, but just make sure again that there's no salt and sugar added to the extra foods. Now, carrots are also wonderful. You literally, they're so cheap to buy, and you can literally just peel them, cut them up, boil them, and then mash them, and these save really, really well. So you can freeze a bunch, put some in the fridge, and if you just always have carrots on hand, it's great. Carrots also are naturally sweet, so babies tend to love those just all on their own. Spinach is another wonderful, healthy, nutritious meal to feed your baby, and again, all it takes is just boiling some water, throwing the spinach in, letting it get to a mushy consistency. Now, when you're cooking your vegetables, you're going to want to make sure that you do strain the water out of the vegetables, and then you're going to want to have added water to mix the ingredients in, because when you boil vegetables, the pesticides and impurities and fertilizer, any of the gunk left over on the vegetable will come off in the water. So do not use the water that you boiled the vegetables in to then mash the fruit and vegetables in. You're going to want to strain them out. So make sure that you do that. That's an important step. And then when you do add added water to mash the vegetables, make sure it's purified drinking water, because at that point you're not going to be heating the water anymore. So spinach is another great one. Babies tend not to eat spinach on their own, but it's a great little filler if you want to mix some bananas and spinach, or blueberries and spinach, or something else. You can always just throw a little extra spinach in it. Even spinach and carrots. My baby loves spinach and carrots. Sweet potatoes are another wonderful vegetable to use. It literally just takes peeling the sweet potato and then cutting it up into cube size pieces about about this big or so, and then boiling it, almost like you're going to make mashed potatoes, but then don't add, again, any extra creams or salt or sugar. Just mash it, and you can serve it to your baby. Now, one food that all babies love almost universally across the board is applesauce. Applesauce, again, is super simple to make. You peel the apple, you cut it, you cut the core out, and I usually cook my apples in a pan at about this depth, and I'll fill the pan up about 1/3 of the way full and put the apple slices in the pan here. And so the apples aren't fully submerged in the water, and I'll cover it and let it cook for about 10 to 20 minutes. And once the apples are real mushy, I will strain the apples and then put them in a blender or mash them by hand. And then I always add a little extra cinnamon, and it works really well. And when you're making applesauce, you're going to want to make sure to use a naturally sweet apple like a Red Delicious. Don't use the green tart apples. Things like grapes are great for babies. However, you have to sit there, cut them in half, and then peel them in order for the baby to actually eat them. So it does take a while. It can be a bit of a pain. So what I actually like to do with grapes is I cut them in half, and then in the stores they sell these really nifty baby fruit eaters is what they are. It's basically just like a net that you can throw unpeeled fruit in and then close it and let the baby chew on it and suck on it. So they're getting the fruit and the pulp from the fruit and the juices, but they're not getting the actual skins and things like that. So it's a huge time saver, because who has time to peel a bunch of grapes before giving them to your baby? And when your baby just needs a snack, I don't want to be constantly giving them Cheerios and crackers and things like that. I want to give them fruits and vegetables. So this is a great way to do it without having to sit there and actually peel each individual grape. Now, when your baby is ready for proteins, that they can start eating pureed meats and some dairy products, not cow's milk, that's not till after a year old, you can introduce things like cottage cheese. My baby Harvey loves cottage cheese, and what I do is I'll literally just take a couple scoops of the low-fat cottage cheese, and I mix it with homemade date jam. And my mother-in-law actually made this. She makes it really good, and it's literally just blended dates. And it smells delicious. It's so rich in flavor, and it's so sweet naturally, but there's nothing added. It's literally just blended dates. So I'll mix a little bit of cottage cheese with the blended dates, and I'll feed that to my baby. It's literally like a dessert. He can't eat it fast enough, and it's all really good for him. He's getting lots of protein, helping his digestive tract. If your baby is constipated, dates are a great fruit to introduce because it does help with your baby's digestive system. And it literally takes almost no prep on my part because I have a lot of this date jam stored. It's just a quick, easy, ready-to-go food. So when you're making your own baby food, all of these ingredients are relatively cheap to buy. The spinach you can buy in bulk. The carrots, you can literally buy those giant horse bag of carrots, and it's just pennies for handfuls of carrots. What you are going to be concerned with as a new mom, I'm sure, is I just don't have time to make baby food. Well, that's not the case. What I've done is I've gone out and purchased these little glass bottles, and you can use whatever kind of container you want, but I got these at Walmart, and I got a dozen for like $5. It was really cheap, and these store in the freezer really well. You can microwave them or put them in hot water. I don't want to microwave plastic, so that's why I chose the glass. And what I do is I'll make up, when I make baby food, I'll make it like twice a month, and I'll make a big batch of everything, and I'll store it in the freezer. In my freezer, for example, right now I have applesauce and peas, and I normally have chalkboard paint actually that I put on the glass here so I can write what they are, but these are new containers and I haven't done that with these yet. So when I am on the go, these work really well because I can just grab and go, and I don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I have to stop and make a whole meal. Now, peas are another incredibly easy food, especially you can just go out and buy the frozen peas, and it's literally just sticking them in boiling water for a couple of minutes, and again then blending them. So again, incredibly easy, incredibly cheap, and this will last for weeks, especially if you mix it with other food. So it's a huge time saver. So when you're feeding your baby the very first foods, everything should be pureed, which basically just means smashed beyond all recognition. So there shouldn't be anything chunky in the liquid because you want it to be able to go down smoothly, and you don't want your baby to choke, because because they're just learning how to swallow and how to eat and eat from a spoon. Now I find it's easiest to puree in a blender. So if you're cooking peas, for example, if you're just going to mash the peas with a fork, the skin of the pea is going to detach, and that's not going to mash and separate with the fork. It's just going to kind of be a choking hazard in the food. So make sure when your baby is first starting to eat that you do put everything that you can in the blender, so it blends it up real nice and good and is real mushy and easy for the baby to swallow. Feeding your baby has never been easier. They always are coming out with little gadgets that help make it so much easier. Now, one gadget that I do love is the automatic baby feeder. It's literally just a rubber container you can put, let's say, your pureed peas into, and you then put the spoon lid on it, and there's a little hole in the spoon, and you just squeeze the container and it fills the spoon full of peas. Give it to your baby, and then you can just squeeze it to refill it. And so this allows you to be out and about and be able to hold your baby as you're feeding them. Now, I knew that they had these for those pre-packaged foods, but you had to buy their pre-packaged food in order to attach their spoon to it, but now they have them for moms that do want to make their own homemade baby food. So I love it because it works really well out in public, and I can literally be grocery shopping with my baby and put him in the stroller and just be feeding him as I'm walking. So it's great. Absolutely love this. So that's it, moms. It's really simple. I really do feel that it's best for your baby giving them something that is fresh and with no additives and preservatives. And you can rest assured knowing that you know exactly what is going into the food and how it's being prepared. And it's being done with clean pots and pans and clean hands and purified water. So I really do think that this is the best way, and it can be the easiest and the cheapest way if you do it right. So anyway, I hope that this all was helpful, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye!